Welcome everyone to my second channel. If you're looking for my main channel, this isn't it, but this is a very, very big, well, I don't know how big this episode is going to be, but it's going to have a lot of information because we are doing a full garage update, starting with the one thing that you guys have been asking me about for months and months and months, and that is my hair. And my hair's been doing well. No, it's not my hair. It's this McLaren P1. It's my 2015 McLaren P1 that was flooded in Hurricane Ian. You guys all know the story, but there has been a lot of work that happened behind the camera, and I haven't put out a video on this in something like 3 or 4 months just because we've been at work doing a lot of stuff and getting a lot of parts and developing new parts for this car, and I'm going to go over all of it. I'm not going to give away every single thing because we do have a video coming out on my main channel on this car, but I figured I owe it to you guys, since you guys have been so good at watching every single one of these videos, that I should give you a big update on this car. So right off the bat, we have the front clamshell. I mean, the front clamshell is not really on here, but this was made by Exotic Car Gear. And for those of you that don't know, this is the P1 Evo body. And we're gonna have a full kind of custom carbon, but then candy painted exposed carbon shell. In addition to this shell, we also have to do the same thing to the doors, and the doors are just OEM. So you can see the carbon fiber weave is different right here. It's like a patchwork quilt, and that means that we have to sand down this entire thing, do some body work, and then veneer a carbon fiber skin on top of it and make sure that all the weave goes the exact same way. Now, I did previously have this at a shop called Attacking the Clock, and Attacking the Clock did a little bit of work to get this clamshell fitting better because the clamshell, it was a race car part, and as you can see, we don't have a race car, so the part actually didn't fit all that well onto our street car body, so we had to modify it. And the guys at Attacking the Clock did their best to sort of form it into shape, but I took the car back so we can sort of do the finishing touches. And in the next video, I'm gonna have somebody out here that does like really like high level OEM like Koenigsegg type finishes, because there are a lot of little things that we need to do. Like, I don't know if you know this, but right here, this is not a window. There's not supposed to be any glass here, but this is supposed to be a intake. This is an intake for the air to just go along the body, and there is a cavity underneath. A lot of people don't know that, and I think on the race car, this wasn't here, but on our car, we want to have the best sort of aero profile, so that has to be cut in and kind of molded and everything. Now, the clamshell is looking better. And the reason why we're using this clamshell is not only that it's exposed carbon, which unfortunately we can't use right now because we'll have to veneer it, but it's because this was a P1 GTR design. So in the back you see the GTR kind of rear haunches. It's going to have a P1 GTR rear, but it's not going to have the fixed wing that the GTR has. It's going to have this guy. So this is the stock P1 wing, and this sits right in here. I mean, you can see that there still are some fitment issues. You see, I believe Jack might have done this, but this is where it hits. This is where it gets a little bit, you know, tight and loose in some areas. So this will all need to be worked, body worked, but it is fitting a lot better. Now, this is just one part of this. This process, as much as it still looks like it's a work in progress, this took about, I'd say, 2 to 3 months. So before I get too into my own cars and what we have to do at the shop, I want to introduce something that is going to be a game changer for your cars and your car projects, and that's today's sponsor, Carly. So to demonstrate how good Carly is, I borrowed a 2013 Volkswagen GTI from a friend just to show you everything Carly has to offer. Now, Carly is an all-in-one diagnostics, coding, and live data system that you just plug into your OBD2 port. You can analyze and repair car issues, you can monitor engine data in real time, you can also detect tampering of mileage and VIN, and on certain cars, you can code and customize your car in minutes. Now this car says status very bad. This has some engine issues, some ABS issues, and honestly some other issues, but thanks to Carly and Smart Mechanic, I can figure out those issues really quickly. Now the Carly Smart Mechanic analyzes the fault code and tells you potential consequences, potential causes, and gives you an expert guide with related faults. So even if you don't know what's wrong with your car, this is an awesome starting point. But my favorite feature by far is the coding. So this allows you to code things that weren't ever available on your car from the factory. And this car in particular, I know, didn't come from the factory with automatic roll down windows when you hit the unlock button. But I think we can code that into this car right now. All we have to do is go into the coding section, click the module that you want to code, and then click the option that you want in your car, and then Carly does the rest. Now I just coded this feature. We're gonna try it for the very first time. Have the unlock button here. All I have to do is hold it. Look at that. And that is how easy it is to code with Carly. Now, if you want a Carly of your own, just go to the link in the video description or use Tavarish15 at checkout to get 15% off your order. It is totally worth it. It's a lot of fun messing about with cars like this, and especially getting stuff that you never had from the factory. Go check it out right now. In this box, not this particular box, but in this box right here is all of the wiring that we've done. So Adam at Smart EFI has been working for the last 5 months on this, and I can't tell you how much time and money, and oh my God, the money. It's cost a lot of money to get to this point, but we've kind of put everything in here just so we don't lose anything, but we have had to make a wiring harness from scratch. And if you think that's easy on a $2 million hypercar, then I don't know what to tell you, because it's really, really not easy. So underneath here, let's put this to the side. So underneath here is the brand new harness. And this was painstakingly made from scratch. Not only have we recreated every single wire and cable, but we have added these bulkhead connectors, and these bulkhead connectors are very necessary because in the stock configuration, these wires just went all over the car. The entire harness was just one big piece. So if you wanted to pull one part of the harness, then you had to get everything out of the car. Like, it was just a nightmare to get this whole thing out. But with this makes the entire harness modular, meaning that if you want to work on something on the inside of the car, you can just disconnect the whole harness, take it out of the car, and then work on it. But the same goes for the kind of 4 corners of the car. Each of the corners has a modular harness, and each of these connectors is like $275. Like, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like each of those is a lot of money. And not to mention, we ran new wires, new grommets, new basically everything. And if you think that, oh, we can just reconnect and reuse some of these connectors, that may be true on some of these, because we did have some donor harnesses, but for the majority of this, we had to get brand new connectors for the entire harness. Now that, weirdly enough, is not the hard part. The hard part of this is when we connect this and we have to test every single wire, and there are thousands of them, we have to make sure that the modules in the car, and there are a lot of them, there's body control modules, ECUs, TCUs, chassis control modules, there's a lot of different computers that have to talk to one another. Each of those modules has to be coded specifically for this car and specifically for this configuration, because we don't have a stock configuration. This is a 720S engine. There's no hybrid drive assembly. There's electronic sensors for the turbo that weren't there before. And there's also a lot of the P1 stuff. So we're still using all the P1 suspension and hydraulics and all that stuff. So that needs to be custom coded to this car. And that has never been done before. I mean, none of this has ever been done before. But that particular thing has never been done on a car, much less a P1. So that I'm a little bit scared of, but I think I have a solution. We have a few people that think that they can do it. They have the brain power and the willpower that they can do it. But we're just going to keep on going with this project. And I just wanted to let you know that this has been 5 months in the making, and we're deep into the 5 figures for how much this cost. I did not save any money in terms of like buying a new harness from McLaren, but even if I had bought a new harness from McLaren, this would have been, I mean, like, we still would have had to take it apart and modify it because we're reinventing the wheel at this point. So in addition to that, we also have the interior work that's been done by Matt from E3 Customs. And this is all well and good. He did an awesome job, but I think we're also going to modify this quite a bit. I think I want to put maybe, embroidery here, or maybe some more designs here. So this is not the final form of the car. I have ordered some glass for the car. So you'll notice that there's no glass. There's supposed to be a windshield and then the top panels. The windshield is $10,000, and each of these is $5,000. So just in glass, you're 20 grand in, and then there's a piece of glass here that I might make out of carbon fiber, but that piece of glass is another, I think, 5 or 7 grand. So that's a lot of money in glass.
Have you considered maybe using like Lexan windows? Did I say that right?
What?
Lexan?
Why would I? So like a race car.
Well, modified.
Modified race car. Okay.
It's lighter weight. You're trying to go faster.
Well, I could also put an LS in it. I could do that. We could just make it a. You know what? Come and swap. Come and swap would be great. and then. No, I'm sorry. I don't want to be mean. No. So a Lexan. So some people run custom Lexan windows and glass. They're not really glass, but they're just like panels that you put. And yes, you can use them for some racing applications. You don't want to use them on the street. You don't want to use them for a daily driver, and you don't want to use them for a car like this, just because Lexan doesn't wear very well in the hot sun. It tends to yellow, and also Lexan isn't rated for the kind like if you have a car accident, like I don't know what Lexan's going to do, and especially Lexan that I cut and install. So I'd rather get the OEM glass that's been rated for everything. It's safety glass, so it's not going to shatter if something hits it. Like Lexan won't shatter, it's very strong, but I don't know if there's issues with seeing through it after a certain amount of time or heat cycles or something like that. So no, I wouldn't do Lexan. I mean, sometimes people do Lexan up here in like the McLaren 720S, and that may be a solution, but again, if we could just do glass and it's just more expensive, then I'd rather go more expensive, because this car is literally the most expensive car I've ever had. So I don't think we need to cheap out on this. We've already, in for a penny, in for a pound. I'm getting a lot of bits and pieces for this car that I didn't know I needed. So just to give you an idea, let me get something for you. I'll show it. All right, so this is the carbon fiber cover for the mirror arm. So that goes in something like this.
It's a cup holder.
Yeah, it's a little cup holder. So Tommy, how much do you think that this cost?
A cup holder, $99.
Okay, this was $1,900.
I was close. There's a 9 in it.
Yeah, so this is $1,900 just for these 2 little pieces of carbon fiber that actually don't fit that well. This, since my mirror got ripped off, then this just goes in like that, and now I'm going to have a nice new mirror. But it's just, this is the kind of stuff that happens on a car like this. There's so many more components that have to go into this, but you guys are going to see that on the main channel, because in the next episode, which is going to come up in hopefully the next 2 weeks or something like that, we are getting a harness in the car, we're getting the engine in the car, and I have a big update on the engine, but it's not here yet. I'm not going to be too cryptic. So we got the new turbos. The brand new turbos that are going to have like 1,300, 1,400 horsepower, and they're from Tachyon Motorsports, or Tachyon Engineering, and they are the original company that made the turbos for the P1, and we made like custom turbos for this car, and it's not like we just gave them turbos and they modified them. We have a custom turbo setup, and it was made by Mitsubishi, by the actual turbo manufacturer from Japan. So they shipped it from Japan. They did all the testing and everything. So it's an OEM turbo that just comes for this car, for my car, and it's a prototype set, and I'm super excited.
You got a piece of Jack's Evo.
That's right,
in your car.
Yeah, so Jack's Evo, so for those of you that don't know, the turbos on a McLaren P1 are very similar in like the, what's called the CHRA, which is like the center housing. that is very similar to what you find in a Lancer Evolution. It's called a TD05 turbo. It's a pretty big turbo for something like that, but this uses 2 of them, and this also has a design that is completely crazy. Like the wheels are custom bespoke for this, and since we're using a 4-liter and it's going to have a lot of low-end torque, it's going to be amazing, amazing power delivery. The next episode is going to be a really big, not update, but we're going to have the suspension on, at least what I want. Is we're going to have the suspension on, the engine in the car, and everything in terms of wiring in the car, and we might even get the dashboard in. So that's going to be a very, very, very big episode, and it's going to take a lot longer than I think it's going to take. But hopefully that clears up a lot of things about the P1. Now, I know you guys have a lot of questions about the car, or why I did something, why I didn't do things, and, you know, where is this and where is that. So let me know in the comments. And also, if you like this kind of stuff that, you know, we talk about the stuff that's in the garage and do these garage updates and do behind the scenes, then please do subscribe to this channel. I know that a lot of you have subscribed to the channel, but a lot of you that watch this aren't subscribed. So we do love making these videos. I know Tommy loves editing them, and it really is a lot of fun, and it allows us to share more stuff with you. So please, please, please do subscribe. Now, that's the P1. I know I'm probably forgetting a few things, but we'll get to that on the main channel when it comes to it. But if you turn around, now take a look at this. This is my other hypercar. I bought another hypercar. Look, I'm going to do the YouTube thumbnail. No, so this is a LaFerrari that was made of wood and clay. And this was basically given to me by my friend Sam Hard out in the UK. And we found this, well, he found it, and he thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And I'm like, hey, Sam, can I please have this? And he said yes. You know, in his accent, I don't know, he's very British. But you can see that right here, there's some clay. Like, it's really hard clay, and then I think that's like styrofoam or some sort of foam. But this was made by a company that makes these 1-to-1 scale models for OEMs, for original manufacturers. Now, this was not made for Ferrari. I don't know what the company was that was made for, but I know that the company was comparing it to another like hypercar, just in terms of dimensions and stuff. And this doesn't have wheels, but that's only because the wheels are right here. Take a look at these guys. Look at these bad boys. Oh yeah.
That's heavy.
That's a good looking wheel. Yep, that's.
Maybe if I stand further back, you can't tell.
Nope, still bad.
Oh.
Still bad. Still bad. Yeah. So these wheels are not going back on the car. I was thinking, in all of our spare time, you know, in all of our free time, because we have so much free time, we will fix this because it has a giant crack over here, and maybe we'll make, I think we should make like a second channel video on this. You guys let me know, but like we'll fix that, and then we'll paint it a nice color. You guys can let me know what the best color is for a LaFerrari, and then we'll get some replica wheels for it, and then we'll put it on the wall somewhere.
Ooh.
Yeah,
yes.
so it'll look like an actual car. It definitely weighs the same as an actual car. Oh my God,
Don't break it.
I'm gonna break my back. But anyway, let me introduce you to the kit car next to it. Yeah, you see, that's a transition. So this has already been on my channel. This is a 1999 Lamborghini Diablo VT Roadster replica. I don't want to say too much about it because we've already done a video on it when it was back in the UK, but I had all of these cars brought over to here, and now it's just sitting here, and this is actually going to be on another YouTuber's channel. I'm not going to give away who that is. This car does not run, and hopefully they get it running, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and maybe it'll end up back here because I really like this car. But let's go over everything in the shop. Now, number one, the shop seems a lot cleaner than it was before, and that's because we've done a lot of cleaning. We got all the lifts up, which is awesome. Every single one of the lifts works. And these are Benpack, the auto stackers that I have. And I got this idea from Shmee 150 in his Shmuseum. And these are so cool because, you know, these auto stackers You can lower them all the way down, and there's no posts or anything like that. It's just an awesome design, and you can park anything you want underneath it. It's super cool if you just want to display cars like I do, and we have a lot of cars to display. Quick sort of lightning round of the cars we have in the shop. Some you've seen, some you haven't seen, and some I can't remember if I've done any reveals on, but hey, now you guys see all my cars, and we'll all be caught up. So that is an Audi RS6. That was Matt Armstrong's car, and it still is Matt Armstrong's car, and he has to go pick it up because he can have it here for about a year until it has to go bye-bye and turn into a pumpkin. So that car is going to go away, but it's super awesome. 4-liter twin turbo, makes 650 horsepower, and it is really loud. And above it is another car that's super stank nasty loud. That is the Ice-T Tesla. So that is Rich Rebuild's car. It is a 6.2-liter V8 with a supercharger, a Magnuson supercharger on it, and it has a manual transmission, the T56, with a sequential gear shifter. And it has air suspension, which is why it's dumped, and it looks like it has a paint job or a vinyl wrap that looks like Ice-T. You know, it's the color of Ice-T. That car can be very fast. It's not very fast right now because it needs a few things, and we're gonna work on that. But that's just chilling right there. Then we have Old Reliable, the 3000 GT VR4. Only made 287 of those models in that year. One of my favorite cars ever. A R32 GTR Nismo. Only 500 made of that. Not my car, but I wish it was. Then we still have the 996 Turbo Porsche that we gave to Matt from E3 Customs. He's a really good friend of mine, and we decided to give him that car because it was one of his dream cars, and it's still here because we need to finish some odds and ends. Weirdly, we have some pending things on our cars, don't we?
You don't say.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like it seems like every single car needs like tiny little things. But as soon as we're buttoned up with that, Matt's gonna get it, and he's gonna do something really obnoxious with it, and I hope he does. And underneath that is a Porsche 993. Now that is not my car. I believe Rex and a friend of his bought that car, and it is almost the same color. It's a midnight blue metallic. And these cars have appreciated so much in the marketplace, except for 2 weeks ago when the market sort of took a dive, and he bought that car for like way under what it was worth. But this car runs, drives perfectly. It's the last air-cooled 911, which I'm told is a big deal. I'm not.
Because air is free.
Air is free. That's true. Tommy says air is free, and that's why 911s are expensive.
Yep, exactly.
That doesn't make any sense, does it?
No.
No, so here's the thing. I've driven air-cooled 911s. I don't get them, man. Like,
Whoa!
I don't get it.
Oh, no.
It's like a hipster thing, isn't it?
No, it's awesome.
Why is it awesome?
Because
it's awesome in the same. It's awesome in the same way a rotary is awesome.
Whoa, okay.
It's because you don't have to drive it every day.
Speaking my language now.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen. I'm sure it's a great car, but like the new 911s, much better. Just so much better. So much better. Okay. So then we have the Supra that we built for Rex. And then we have Jack Builds It Evo, Evo 8, and that is the cleanest Evo. I mean, I'd say that's also the cleanest Supra that you'll ever see, but Jack is also building a Supra, so we're gonna see who's the cleanest Supra around here.
We're gonna find out.
We're gonna find out. So these cars are insanely quick. Then we have my Ferrari 430 Scuderia with a bunch of modifications, manual conversion, and center lock, and steering rack from a race car. And yeah, it's been sitting up there for a little while, just because it needs a few odds and ends. I believe some synchros in the gearbox aren't the best. So I think that might need a gearbox rebuild at some point. So unfortunately, that's just sitting there. But fortunately, this car is totally sorted. So this is my McLaren 675 LT, and it is honestly my personal favorite. If you want to go like really stupid fast. This is now about 800 horsepower, like brake horsepower at the engine, and it has 650 foot-pounds of torque, something like that, and it is just a rocket ship. I love this car. I love driving it. It gets a lot of looks from people, which is not my thing. I'm not a big flashy car guy, yet here we are. But this is one of my favorite builds, one of my favorite cars. If you haven't seen this, we have the full build on this channel, and it's 7 hours long. So please don't feel obligated to watch the whole thing. But if you want to know the entire history of this car, it's all there. So we'll link to that in the description below. But next to that is my SL55 AMG. And like a dozen of you are like vehemently asking me to do the manual swap, because I said I was going to manual convert that car like 7 years ago. Like it's a long time, and this is like before I had my Lamborghini, before I had any of these cars, before I had the shop. I said that that car was going to be manual, and I still hold to that promise. I just don't know when that's going to be because we have a lot of other projects. But that's a really cool car, 5.4 liter supercharged V8. And it has the ABC hydropneumatic suspension deleted, so it has BC Racing coilovers, custom made for this car, and custom sway bars, so it does handle quite well. And then underneath it is my favorite manual car driving experience of all time. This is the Porsche 992 GT3. And if any of you have ever tried to drive like a Porsche, this is as Porsche as it gets. I don't care what you drive. I don't care if it's air-cooled or not. This thing is the best Porsche driving experience and the best manual driving experience I've ever had. It's 6 cylinders, naturally aspirated, revs to 9,000 RPM, makes about 500 horsepower. The same engine, same basic engine as what's in the GT3 RS, which makes like 7 more horsepower, but everyone's going crazy over that. I think this car's better. Now, this particular car, if you guys don't know, was bought by Adam LZ, and then it was crashed, unfortunately, through no fault of Adam's own, and then it was rebuilt in this shop by Matt Armstrong and his team, and I had a small part in that. And then afterwards, I ended up buying the car, and it's just amazing. I'm going to drive this car home tonight. And this car, we've had put about 7,000 miles on it since the crash, so it's really sorted, it's super fast, it's fun to drive, makes you feel like a race car driver. I can't stop gushing about it. Also, my friend Max Speed Mike just made a video on this car, and he did a really good job. And it's also why I'll never let him drive this car again, because he went really, really fast, and he shouldn't do that because he's a naughty boy.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, his name is Max Speed Mike. What did I expect? I feel like I did that to myself. So then we have Aston Martins. So this car, depending on when this video goes out, I'm not sure if this video will have launched, but this is my original Aston Martin V8 Vantage, so this is probably a sneak peek for you guys. You haven't seen this car, but it's going to be in a very, very different state when you see it revealed on my channel. So I'm not going to say too much on that, but yes, it is probably the car you're thinking about. And this is my 2009 Aston Martin DBS manual, Casino Royale, full James Bond spec. I'm not a big James Bond fan, but I'm a big fan of this car. This is my money, no object dream car, and I'm never selling this, and we just hit 40,000 miles on it. It's awesome. Next to it is a bike. I know nothing about bikes, but it's a CBR 1000. There's a lot of R's in there. Yeah, I think the last two R's are because it's red. It's very red.
And Rex,
yeah.
Rex and red.
Red Werx. So that's Rex's bike. I am not a bike person. Rex is a bike person. So I hope he sells this thing because this is just a death machine. So next to it is also a death machine. This is called a Corbin Sparrow, and this is an electric car that was if you go past 30, how fast do you think this can go, Tommy?
Well, Jack, we call him older Jack? Jack Sr.?
Yeah, Shop Dad?
Shop Dad got that thing moving real quick.
Yeah.
Scary quick.
Yeah, so this was originally made, you guys can let me know if you want like a full video on the second channel about just this car, but it is ridiculous and it looks like a shoe.
Well, it looks like a soccer ball.
It does look like a soccer ball. So this also had, it's like a soccer golf sort of
soccer
livery.
shoe.
And if you notice, these are Space Saver spares. These are donuts. So you shouldn't be driving around on this. And this has, like, you know how usually electric cars have like lithium batteries and lithium ion or whatever? This had lead acid. So these are old 12-volt batteries, like the heavy ones. And this has a bunch of them. And it's 3-wheeled, and it has one electric motor on the back. And if you turn it really hard, you might flip over. And that is not an exaggeration. We almost flipped it over at like 5 miles an hour. So This is not mine. This is a friend of Rex's that decided to buy something really stupid. But I decided to buy something really stupid, and this is this, the AutoZam AZ1. And the AutoZam AZ1 is, I think you guys have seen this on the channel before, but this never gets old. That is something that I absolutely love. And this was honestly my favorite K car. If you guys don't know what K car is, you can Google it. It's just a designation in Japan. It's a very, very small compact car. It was limited to 660cc. And this one is a 3-cylinder, has a turbo on it, and it actually makes a lot of turbo whooshy noises. It's actually quite fast. I've got it up to about 70, 80 miles an hour, which is very, very scary on these tiny, tiny little tires. So if we put that down, and we look over here, we'll see a Tesla Roadster. And Tesla Roadster is not mine again. It's actually owned by the same guy who owns this this soccer shoe or whatever the hell it is. So this is a original Tesla Roadster. I believe it's a 2012. Somebody's gonna be yelling at me. I don't know what year this is, but it has a bunch of carbon fiber on it. And then this is going to be the start of mine and Rex's channel, Art of the Flip. And I know a lot of you have already subscribed, so this is going to be the first car there, and we're still working on it. We're just kind of getting our bearings because, I don't know if you know this, we have a lot of cars and a lot of shops, and we should go quickly to the other shop next door. So welcome everyone to the second shop, the dirty shop, the workshop. And thankfully, it is now air conditioned. We finally got air conditioning. We got 3 mini split units, and it is really nice in here because this is actually more insulated than the other unit. And we need it to be more insulated because we do a lot of work here. Now, this is, well, I just put out a video on this car. This is the Audi R8. And this was a V8 car that we transplanted a V10 into. Well, we're still doing that. You can see the V10 right there. The V8 and V10 car are very, very, very different in terms of frame. I didn't know that it was going to be that different, but thankfully we have a lot of people that can make things happen here, namely Jack, Rex, and Tommy. And those guys, they took this all apart, and Jack did his magic with cutting this, and he got it welded, and everybody kind of came together. And this was all while I was away working in the UK. So I was doing a bunch of stuff with Matt Armstrong and the Rolls-Royce Wraith over there. But this should be coming together in the next, I'd say, next few weeks, just because we're waiting on parts. Turns out there is a international back order at this point for the engine mounts. And the engine mounts are what hold the engine to the car, and the ones on this car were bad, so we had to get new ones. They were about $1,400 for both, and that's not really a big deal, but the fact is it takes about 2 weeks to get them. They have to come from Germany because this is a German car. Now, this color was custom chosen by Jack and Lewis, our painter, and they called it Ron Burgundy, and I really, really like that because, you know, it's a classy car. You got to stay classy. Now back here is the Ford Focus RS that actually needs a bit of work. Now this is a really, really, really good car. I love how practical it is. I love how fast it is, about 400 something horsepower. It has a white strip on the side. It has active suspension, active exhaust, and it is the biggest hot boy car ever. Unfortunately, it just sprang a leak. Don't know where from. And also the battery has a bad cell in it. It had some weirdness with the battery. So we took out the battery and we're looking into a problem with the car, but hopefully this will be leak-free and then we can brap and pop and crackle all over the place. But speaking of brap, look at that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Kind of biased toward that car. I don't know why.
It's really, it's something, isn't it?
We haven't talked about that car.
No, we haven't.
The one that we don't speak of.
Yeah, so this is a car that we are about to launch on this channel, and I want you guys to let me know if this is a good idea or not.
Oh my gosh, please say yes, otherwise we're getting canceled.
It's bad. Yeah, so this is Tommy's car. And woo! Tommy is, if he's not in the running for King Hot Boy, he at least he used to be King Hot Boy. Like, you know, like back in the late 90s, he was what people that drive Ford Focus RSs aspire to be. So this is his Mazda RX-8. It has a gigantic turbo the size of my head. It makes actually a lot of power. It made it. I don't want to give too much of the story away, but it did make a ton of power. Right?
500 at the engine, which is a lot for that car.
500 at the engine.
Yeah.
Okay. How much in the glove box? So like, I don't. Okay.
Oh, wait, 500 to the, what is it called?
The crank.
The crank. Well,
Yeah.
okay. At
Yeah.
the rotor.
Yeah, at the rotor. Yeah, there's no crank, is there? 500 at the eccentric shaft.
Yes. Thank you.
So this was an ex-SEMA car. It wasn't the Toyota Tires Tread Pass. And Tommy's going to tell the story when we start doing that car. But being an ex-SEMA car and it hasn't been driven in a while, it needs a lot of work. And Tommy has a lot of little parts and a lot of big parts he wants to put on that car, and I'm really excited because that car is super cool. It was built really well. It has a wide body and it just looks amazing. And he wants to do like drift stuff in it. Why do you want to drift?
Drifting's fun.
You want to like, but in that car?
I think, well, we might make this a little more geared toward time attack, even though we have some drift parts.
Time attack.
Yeah, because...
Why do you need to attack the time? Why can't you just have a good time?
Well, maybe it will show itself at your event.
Okay. All right. So that's another thing I wanted to talk about because I have been working on something for a long time behind the scenes, and you guys don't know about it. I've made a few mentions of it on social media, but I have an event, and I want you guys to show up for it. Now, I'm not doing like a really big launch. This is sort of like a soft launch. So you guys will be the first people to hear about it on this channel. So I have an event. It's called Werx. And it's going to be December 6th through 8th in Circuit, Florida, which is in Auburndale, which is in like central Florida. It's about an hour from me and about 30 minutes from Disney World. So you can fly into Orlando and then just make your way down there. There's plenty of hotels, that sort of thing. So I wanted to make a Goodwood Festival of Speed type show for the US. I want there to be lots of people like me, car lovers, and people prominent in the car community. We're gonna have a lot of my friends there. So I'm gonna be there. We're gonna have Derek from Bicycle Garage. We're gonna have Ed Boley and Tyler Hoover. We're gonna have Chris Fix. We're gonna have people like Rich Rebuilds and B is for Build. And I mean, anybody that you can think of is probably going to be there. Matt Armstrong. A bunch of people are going to come from all over the place. We're trying to get Auto Alex because Auto Alex says he wants to go, and he really does. He's done all the paperwork, but he's been a naughty boy, and I don't know if he can get into the country. But if he can, he's definitely going to be there. We're going to have Shmee 150 there, and we're going to have Ben Collins, who was the previous Top Gear Stig. And now he's like a friend of mine, so he's gonna be driving the cars. There's gonna be thrill rides. You can drive, you can be in a car with the Stig going around a track. It's gonna be insane. There's also gonna be a live build. So me and a bunch of other automotive YouTubers, they're gonna be building a car. I don't know what car it's gonna be. At the end of the show, we're gonna give it to somebody that attends the show. We're gonna give it to somebody that buys a 3-day ticket. Not only that, but if you buy a ticket to the show at any level, then you will be automatically entered in any giveaways we do this year. And we do have a lot of interesting giveaways. Number one is gonna be the Audi. I haven't announced that yet. We haven't announced the dates or the rules or anything like that, but rest assured you will be, I'm sure there's gonna be an opt-in thing. We'll email people. I know Tommy has been putting a bunch of B-roll and stuff of what you'd expect. We're gonna have supercars, we're gonna have hypercars, we're gonna have a lot of car people, we're gonna have good music, and we're gonna have good people. It's gonna be awesome. Also, Mike Brewer from Wheeler Dealers is coming. Yeah, that's awesome. I forgot to mention him, and he is just the most amazing guy. So I know I'm forgetting something because my head is like, look at the state of this. So my head is exactly this. It's just all the oil of my head is on the ground. But no, I want you guys to check it out. It's called Werx. It's in the link in the description below. Go buy some tickets right now. And it is a limited engagement. We will sell out. And it is only for 3 days. So please do come out. It's going to be amazing weather. It's going to be Florida in December, which is just perfect. So go check it out. Now we're on to this. So this is the 2014 Audi R8 V10 Plus shell. And as you can see, we took off the back of this because that's all the V10 Plus part. We needed to put that onto the V8 car. Now, a lot of you have been asking why we didn't just fix this car. And I'll show you why. So if you look over here, this got hit real hard. It got like what I like to call big mad. So it got hit right here. So it dented this. So this is the structural part of the car. This has a lot of strength in here, and it just like sandwiched a bunch of this. So it's possible that you could cut this out and re-weld a new piece, but in order to do that, you'd have to make sure all of this is straight. And spoiler alert, it's not, because this is crinkled right here, and even up here there's some energy transfer, and this got like just blown apart, and there's not much you can do here without doing major surgery. The other car has a clean title, and this one does not, and there's no real point in doing that. You know, there's no real point in fixing this car if we have a perfectly good car that we could just swap engines over. Turns out, for me, I thought it was just going to be a simple like engine, maybe we do some wiring. We literally had to take every last bolt out of this car. So that's me just thinking things are a little easier than they actually are. When I give away a car, or when I build a car, I want to make sure it doesn't have any check engine lights, no warning lights, nothing like that. And it's really important to me. So yeah, that's it. So this is scrap. Do you see that? What does that look like, Tommy?
I just saw that at Kennedy Space Center.
Yeah, it looks like it's about to go into space, doesn't it?
It's attached to the Saturn V rocket.
So you guys will maybe have seen on my main channel the Noble M400 that I got. It was a burnt car, and me and Jack ended up taking it apart, where I actually gave it to Jack for his channel. Jack builds it, and if you're not subscribed, you should definitely go subscribe now. And I don't want to give away all the stuff that he did, because he did a lot to this car, but it doesn't look very crashed, and it doesn't look very burnt, and that is because he's been very hard at work making this car as good as humanly possible. It's definitely way better than when it left the Noble factory. So he's done a lot of custom touches, and I'll let him explain that on his channel. Again, I don't want to give too much away, but this is going to be the cleanest Noble you've ever seen. And honestly, people haven't really seen too many Nobles, but it's still going to be one of the cleanest supercars, sports cars that you've ever seen. So look out for that. And he's worked he just left like 10 minutes ago, but he's working his hands to the bone getting that thing ready. I don't know if it's going to SEMA or anything like that, but it's definitely going to Werx. Now take a look at more Ron Burgundy painted panels, and these are all aluminum or aluminium, but over here is something that you probably haven't seen in a while, and this is the BMW E46 M3 that I've been working on, off and on for, it's going on 2 years now. So we've done some custom paint, there's custom interior, and now there's a custom coat of dust on it. But I think when we get this done, and I'm waiting on another YouTuber, another very prominent YouTuber, maybe from Europe, that does BMWs, I think you know who I'm talking about. He's going to come out here, and we are going to wrench on this thing together, and we're going to do this right. And I want to make sure that I have his guidance to do this BMW some justice, because it's been through a lot, and I want to make sure that we make the best BMW out of the worst BMW. Now over here, Jack's Supra, he has already let the cat out of the bag on that, so I'm not saying anything that's controversial, but that Supra is a part Supra, and then that one is also a part Supra. And at some point, both of our cars will be running again, and I don't know when that's going to be. But he's really excited about that car. He's been hoarding parts, because that's what you do when you have a Supra. Sort of like what you do with like an RX-7 and RX-8. If you find parts, you just got to buy them. You just got to buy them because they don't exist anymore. And then my Supra, don't know when I'm going to get to that. I really like that car, but it became a parts car because we had to build a car for Werx. So at some point, I'm going to make that car run again, and at some point, Jack's going to make that car run for the first time. Actually, that car runs, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. It drifts.
It does drift. At some point, Jack's going to make that car nice. Yeah. And then we have my Lamborghini, and at some point, I'm going to make that car run and be nice and have a top that works, and all the things that people have been complaining about for the last 5 years. So at some point I'll do that. But we have one more shop that will show you the true... I know you guys have seen a lot, and there's parts everywhere and everything. You guys have no idea how bad this gets. Okay, guys, take a walk with me.
Oh.
Welcome to hell. So this is
Anxiety?
this is anxiety in a shop. So this is our spare part shop, and I don't know if you saw in the last video, but we had like a few spare parts. Now we have we barely have any room to walk around. So we got P1 parts, we got McLaren parts, we got BMW parts, Audi R8 parts. I don't even know what this is. I don't know. So we got wheels, we got interiors, we got glass, we got more wheels, we got more tires, HVAC systems. We have a tonneau cover for a car I've never had. We have more tires, engines, taillights, giant turbos, and we have chassis over there. Chassis for cars we haven't revealed yet. So this is this needs organization. And I know last time I said, oh yeah, we're gonna have like an eBay store. We tried to do an eBay store and it just didn't really work all that well. It seems like we need a full-time person to do an eBay store and to categorize everything because we have quite a bit of parts here. I would wager that we have like $200,000 to $300,000 in retail parts just in this thing alone. And I'm probably underselling that quite a bit. So
What if we get a booth at the flea market?
we can do a booth at the flea market, but can you imagine how big of a hassle it would be taking all this stuff to the flea market? Like the flea market's gonna need 3,000 square feet for us to just put up shop. So yeah, I mean, unless you want like, I don't know, the uprights for a Lamborghini Gallardo or the 992 GT3 OEM exhaust. Or, hey, look at this, it's a Mishimoto radiator for a Toyota Supra. And also a tonneau cover for, I don't know, who got this?
We found it on the street and we thought you'd want it.
You thought, hey, we have lots of space, why don't we just put this in the thing? But yeah, this is the size of a car, why not? We also have some Toyota Supra over fenders, so you can be a hot boy all day for not much money if you have a Toyota Supra.
We did a lot of this video. But a lot of this video was a focus on some of the comments like, don't get mad at me, Freddie. Where's the P1? Where's the P1? Where's the P1? Well, we showed them where the P1 was.
Yeah.
Why didn't you do this to the art? Blah, blah, blah. Well, we answered that. But there's one more thing I wanted to point out is that one of the comments are, you guys never finish a build. And that's not true because guess what? We finished Sue.
Yeah.
We're working on the P1. Finished Aston that people will see.
Yeah.
Help me out. What else would
And I think that's a great way to end this video. No, listen. I mean, it's if people think that we don't finish projects, it's probably because we take a lot of time and a lot of effort into making everything, as good as we possibly can. I mean, Jack's build on the Evo, it took a little longer than a usual YouTube build, but it's also because it's so much more intricate and so much better than anything you'd see. Like even a professional shop wouldn't make it that nice. So we try to have that sort of quality on everything. So I mean, that 675, you take it to SEMA or any car show and people can just, like, if you want to pick it apart, you can. I try to make sure the cars can go out and do anything that they're meant to do. So with the P1, it's going to take a little bit of time, but I think it's going to be very, very worth it in the end. And that goes for any other car that we finish on this channel. I'm super proud of what my team has accomplished and the community that we've cultivated with subscriber count and view counts and just people being able to share this stuff with people. So yeah, I don't really care about people complaining about we don't finish projects because we just take longer to finish projects, and that's okay.
Yeah, and the E46 is going to be done.
Yeah, the E46 is going to be done.
We're doing good, guys. Come on.
Yeah. But also, we have a new project that I haven't told you about. And you might have seen it in the main shop. And it's underneath a car cover. And I'm not telling you about it, but you guys are going to really, really like it because guess what? If you think the P1 is crazy, this is also just as crazy. All right, so that's it. It's really hot in here. We need AC like everywhere in Florida. So that is going to be it for this video. I'm getting really, really hot and I've been rambling for the better part of an hour. I hope you guys liked it. And if you did, hit that like button. But until next time, it's me reminding you that in order to build cars and have parts strewn around like this, you guys need to wrench every day.